The wait is finally over as we return to the Wasteland in exactly 3 days on December 17th. But jumping into Fallout Season 2 without doing your homework is walking into a trap. The ending of Season 1 gave us a cliffhanger and handed us a puzzle that contradicts 15 years of gaming history. We are looking at a timeline that doesn't add up, a villain fleeing to a city that shouldn't exist, and a war that supposedly ended in 2077, starting all over again. You need to understand the truth about Shady Sands, the real status of New Vegas, and why Hank MacLean is running toward a ghost before pressing play on Wednesday. We are standing on the edge of the biggest moment in Fallout history since the bombs fell. Amazon Prime drops the first episode this Wednesday, December 17th, and the trailers have confirmed our suspicions that we are heading to the Mojave. But this isn't the Mojave you remember from the games, because it has been 15 years since the courier walked the lonesome road. The New Vegas we are about to see in 2096 is darker, dustier, and much more dangerous. The marketing team has been teasing a civil war in the streets of Freeside, and that clip from CCXP showing Lucy inside Dinky the T-Rex proves we are revisiting iconic locations. Don't let the nostalgia blind you, because the showrunners have made changes. You might miss the details explaining why the Brotherhood is suddenly invading Nevada if you aren't paying attention. Season 1 infuriated hardcore fans with a single chalkboard in Vault 4 claiming the Fall of Shady Sands happened in 2277. The problem is that Fallout New Vegas takes place in 2281, 4 years later, when Shady Sands was doing just fine. This caused a massive uproar, with people claiming the show had decanonized the best game in the series. Todd Howard stepped in personally to clarify this situation. The fall listed on that board wasn't the nuke, but rather the beginning of the economic collapse. The actual bomb Hank MacLean authorized dropped in 2283 or 2284, shortly after the events of the New Vegas game. This distinction matters because it means the NCR we see in Season 2 isn't a long-dead corpse. It is a freshly wounded animal, which makes them much more dangerous. Hit that subscribe button now if you want to stay ahead of the lore curve this season as we track every Easter egg starting Wednesday. Understanding the fall of 2277 changes how you view the NCR's presence in the upcoming season. If the decline started years before the bomb, it means the new California Republic was rotting from the inside long before Hank arrived. This mirrors the themes we saw in the game, where corruption, famine, and bureaucratic incompetence were already killing the democracy. Season 2 shows us a failed state, rather than just the aftermath of a nuclear explosion. The civil war hinted at in the trailers likely involves the remnants of the NCR, blaming each other for the collapse instead of just standard faction warfare. When Lucy enters the Mojave, she is stepping into a 20-year-old political disaster that her father turned into a crater. Expect the locals to hate her surname. The final shot of Season 1 showed Hank MacLean in his power armor, staring at the New Vegas Strip, specifically the Lucky 38 Tower controlled by Robert House. This choice was calculated, because Hank is a corporate man from Vault Tech Management. He ran to the one person who might be his peer, instead of fleeing to the Brotherhood or the Enclave. We saw House sitting at the table with Vault Tech in pre-war flashbacks, where they were rivals acting as the only adults in the room. Hank is likely going there to call in a favor or settle a debt, but he faces a rude awakening. Hank is just another chip on the table if the House always wins. The trailer footage of the Strip looking dark and powered down suggests House might not be there to open the door. Robert House acts as the wild card of Season 2. We saw him played by Rafi Silver in a brief cameo during Season 1, but industry reports and casting leaks for Season 2 point to a major change. Justin Theroux has been attached to the project, with rumors suggesting he is taking over the role of the New Vegas autocrat. This recasting signals that House is now a main player rather than a simple cameo. House is unique because he bridges the gap between the Cooper Howard flashbacks and the present-day timeline without being a ghoul or frozen in a vault. He scanned his brain into a computer network, so the Robert House that Cooper meets in 2077 is the same consciousness Lucy meets in 2096. He is the key to accessing the details of Vault-Tech's original plan. Amazon showed a clip at CCXP in Brazil earlier this month that confirmed exactly where Lucy starts her journey. We see her positioned inside the mouth of Dinky the T-Rex, the sniper nest and souvenir shop of Novac. This town was famous in the game for both a dinosaur and a massacre. Seeing Lucy there trying to negotiate peacefully while the ghoul hangs from a rope establishes the tone of the season. The town looks rougher than it did in 2281, with peeling paint and desperate locals. The geography matters, because Novac is south of Vegas. This confirms our characters are moving north from California and retracing the steps of the NCR's expansion. They are literally walking through the graveyard of the Republic. The official trailer released in November gave us a glimpse of what Amazon calls a civil war in New Vegas. We saw explosions rocking the streets of Freeside and NCR Rangers fighting an unknown enemy. The Brotherhood of Steel is the easy answer, but closer inspection shows the opposing forces wearing armor that looks scrapped together and painted red. This strongly hints that Caesar's Legion, or its remnants, are still active. His empire likely shattered into warlord states rather than vanishing if the show follows the canon route where Caesar died. A three-way war between a desperate NCR remnant, a fractured legion, and the invading Brotherhood of Steel creates the perfect chaotic vacuum for a vault dweller to disrupt. This has become a war movie rather than a simple post-apocalypse story. We watched Cooper Howard inhaling yellow vials throughout Season 1 to stop himself from going feral. This acts as a plot device driving Season 2 rather than just a character quirk, because he is running out. The Great Khans and the followers of the apocalypse controlled the drug trade in the Mojave. Cooper needs to find a chemist to stay sane, which puts him in conflict with the more scientific factions of the region. The redemption of the ghoul might involve him finding a permanent cure or accepting his fate. The trailer shows him looking weaker and more desperate. His journey to Vegas focuses on finding a pharmacy before his brain rots completely as much as finding his family. The brilliance of this show lies in how it runs two stories in parallel. We are guaranteed to see more of Cooper Howard in 2077, while the ghoul hunts Hank in 2296. The memories of the past power his search for his family in the present. We know his wife Barb was high-level vault tech, so Season 2 needs to answer whether she was a monster or a hostage. House knows the answer, which makes the confrontation in Vegas personal. Cooper is hunting the man who sat next to his wife while they planned the end of the world, instead of just hunting a random villain. The flashbacks may reveal that House tried to warn or recruit Cooper, which would create a tragic irony spanning 200 years. The Enclave does not forgive. Even though the Brotherhood showed up in the finale, Lucy walks around with the head of their top scientist, Wilzig, and effectively carries the data for cold fusion in her pocket. The Enclave has eyes everywhere, and the Mojave had an Enclave remnants bunker in the games. Season 2 will likely activate these sleeper agents. The Enclave acts as the player flipping the board while Hank and House strategize. They want their cold fusion back, which adds a fourth faction to the Civil War. Lucy is the most wanted person in America, without realizing that the technology she carries could power the Lucky 38 for 1,000 years. Maximus is now a knight with fractured loyalty. The Brotherhood of Steel forces seen in the Season 2 trailers are massive. The giant airship known as the Keswenin projects power over the region. A conflict arises because the NCR and House practically wiped out the Mojave chapter of the Brotherhood years ago. They were hiding in bunkers at Hidden Valley. The arrival of the fanatical East Coast Brotherhood led by Quintus will cause friction with the local survivors. Maximus will be caught between his orders to seize technology and his desire to help Lucy. The Brotherhood in Vegas are tech-hoarding raiding parties with better PR rather than heroes. A theory for the deep lore fans involves the Lonesome Road DLC for New Vegas. A character named Ulysses predicted that creatures called tunnelers would eventually swarm out of the divide and destroy the Mojave. He said it would happen in years rather than decades, and it has now been 15 years. The tunnelers act as a strong explanation for why Vegas looks so ruined. These underground predators can tear through power armor like paper. Introducing a biological threat that forces the NCR, Legion, and House to stop fighting each other would fit the Fallout style. Seeing a reptilian creature bursting out of the ground in Episode 1 would confirm the prophecy. Macaulay Culkin stands out as a notable casting announcement for Season 2. He is listed as playing a crazy genius type, which fits a specific role in the Mojave setting. He could be a member of the Followers of the Apocalypse or a quirky scientist from the Big MT. The Old World Blues DLC introduced us to a think tank of insane scientists, and Culkin's energy fits that style. He could alternatively play a version of the character Fantastic, who pretended to know physics to get a job. Adding a chaotic neutral character suggests the show is leaning into the absurdist humor that made New Vegas so popular. The biggest challenge Season 2 faces involves handling the multiple endings of the New Vegas game regarding which faction the courier backed. The showrunners stated they will not invalidate player choices, but that is impossible unless they choose the Dusty ending, where everything fell apart regardless of who won. The show will likely present a Vegas where the victory was temporary. House might have won while his systems degraded, or the NCR won before Shady Sands got nuked and cut off their supply lines. Making the victory Pyrrhic allows the show to avoid declaring one specific game ending as correct. This strategy demonstrates that no victory lasts forever in the Wasteland. The final shot of Season 1 showed a Deathclaw skull in the sand, which Season 2 must address. We went 8 episodes without seeing the most iconic monster in the franchise, but that changes this week. The Mojave is Deathclaw country, specifically the Quarry Junction area, which terrifies any low-level player. The show held back on showing this creature to save budget and build hype. Its appearance will likely be a major set piece rather than a random encounter. Hank's power armor will likely be put to the test against an alpha male Deathclaw. This moment marks the transition of the show from a survival story to a monster movie. Season 2 will recontextualize everything we love about New Vegas. The timeline is fixed, the factions are at war, and the stakes have shifted from finding a father to saving the future of civilization. Keep your eyes on the background details when you watch the premiere on December 17th. The story is found in the graffiti on the walls of Freeside as much as in the dialogue. Get ready for the return to the Mojave.